Hello. So in this video, I'm going to give you another teaching strategy, another free writing prompt. And this is a free writing prompt I would use on a peer review day. And basically the question is, what do you most want feedback or suggestions on with your draft, and why? Now this is a fairly straightforward one, I think. It gets students thinking about what's going on in their drafts, what their drafts are doing, and where they're maybe not so confident. This is also really useful if you're having your students do any sort of reflective component for their projects, whether that's like a cover letter, a cover memo, or some other, like a discussion forum post, or some other form of reflective writing. Having them think about what they're least certain of with their paper, what they most want suggestions on how to improve, how to strengthen, how to fix. That's really useful for them to know, because that also gives them a sense of what they want to work on in revision. Now, you can, because of the way that I structured my peer review activities, this was sort of just beneficial for those individual students, but you can very easily structure your peer review to incorporate that information. Basically, all you would have to do is have the first step of your student's peer review process be to tell their partner what it is that they most want feedback on. So that can be a really good thing, because it can help guide their partner to actually give the writer feedback on the things that they want feedback on the most. The potential pitfalls of this. One is that may become the main focus of the peer review, to the detriment of other things that are significant. So for instance, if a student says, I'm most concerned about grammar and mechanics, and that's what I want feedback on, if there are major organizational problems, if they're missing a thesis, if the argument fundamentally doesn't make sense, if there's no interpretation of evidence or things like this, you really don't want grammar and mechanics feedback at that point. Like, as a peer reviewer, you are not doing them a favor by just telling them where to put commas. So that's one potential pitfall, is that the thing the student wants feedback on, or says that they want feedback on, may get in the way of giving more useful feedback. The other potential pitfall, in a way related to that issue, is that the peer reviewer may sort of not recognize, or the peer reviewer may sort of say, yeah, you want feedback on this thing, but it's not really that important. So, I mean, there's a potential disconnect there between what the reviewer, or what the author wants, and what the reviewer can identify or can give useful feedback about. So yeah, whenever you've got something like this where it's like you're setting the scope of something like peer review, you do run into those potential concerns. Either that scope will dominate where actually other feedback is more important, or that the reviewer will not sort of be in a good position to give useful feedback about that. So those are two potential pitfalls. But I still think that the idea of letting students prioritize and letting students figure out what's important to them about revision and what they're looking for in terms of feedback is a fundamentally good idea.